So let's talk about money. How much do electrical engineers make? Hello everybody, my name is Jodabeni and I'm an electrical engineer. And today I wanted to just show you guys a breakdown of how much electrical engineers make, just in case if this is something you're interested in, or if you're somebody who's already in college and you're curious how much the professional engineers make. I want to make this as transparent as possible and also give you a resource that will help you find out how much certain people get paid in different areas in the USA or other places in the world. So today we're going to be looking at a company called levels.fyi, and it's pretty much a company where different engineers and different people in different occupations submit their pay or salary. There's not really a way they can verify that this is how much you're actually getting paid by the company. But if you're in a certain company, you can look at those numbers and compare it to yourself. And from what I've seen, from what my friends make in different companies, what I make in my company, it's pretty accurate. It's definitely around the ballpark. The only difference is that you might see in certain areas might be like certain bonuses or things like that. But when it comes to the equivalence of pay per different levels in different companies, it's pretty accurate for the most part. So as an electrical engineer, there's no one size fits all as when it comes down to how much you're gonna get paid. There's a bunch of different variables that you have to pay attention to that will dictate how much you get paid in a certain company or even a certain area. So the things that are going to affect your pay the most is one, how much experience you have. Even if you're coming straight out of college, depending on what type of experience you've gained during your college years, whether it be internship or things like that, your entry level pay could be significantly more than others, or you might even receive a bonus as an incentive to join a certain company because you already have some experience under your belt. Your job location can play a significantly big factor to where you live. Somebody who works in California is going to, or I hope they're making more than this, the same engineer for the same position here in Texas. That's why a lot of times whenever you're looking for jobs for a certain engineering position, they'll be like, hey, for this position here in Texas, we might pay you $96,000. But if you are in the California location or New York City location, we're gonna pay you $178,000. And you might look at it like, man, I wish I could get that much, but the living costs and the living expenses to be in California or New York City are significantly more. So the company has to incentivize to pay you more just so you can survive in that environment. And the next thing to pay attention to is the company type. So what type of company are you trying to work for? Are you trying to work for one of the bigger FANG companies like Google, Facebook, Amazon, Tesla, SpaceX? If you're aiming for one of the bigger companies, you should, you might be expecting more pay. The big tech companies definitely pay more than defense companies. So if you're an electrical engineer and your main goal is just to get paid the most amount of money as much as possible, you're probably gonna avoid defense companies and try to break into one of the bigger tech companies. There's nothing wrong with working in defense companies. Some people love the things that are there, and some people just want to chase the bag. But you also have to understand, when you get paid more, whether in any company, there's more expected of you, and there could be a very high tempo environment where you don't get a lot of breaks. So here we're looking at the website levels.fyi. This is a website that I was telling you guys about. And under electrical engineering salary, the median total compensation is currently $125,000. And as I mentioned before, there's a bunch of variables that go into this. So don't take this as a one size fits all, but we're gonna look at it because it's kind of swayed in all these variables. So if you're in the highest earning section as an electrical engineer, you're gonna be making around $224,000. If you're in the mid section, $180,000, and the lower end, $94,000. Mind you, all of these total compensations include bonuses. So although somebody may be getting $500,000, their base pay may be $200,000, and the other is stock compensation, and it all gets added into that one. If you've made it this far, I really appreciate it if you could hit the like button and the subscribe button, and be sure to share it to any of your other friends who are interested in finding out the salaries of electrical engineers. And let's continue with the video. So if we go down, right now I have it organized as, zero experience to 1 year, to show you how much brand new electrical engineers are making in this field, right? And when you look at a lot of these numbers, they're showing like 40,000, 46,000. Don't be alarmed. A lot of these positions are college technicians that work with professors. They're getting paid but they're not getting paid as if they were working at a big tech company. And some of these positions might be internships, so they're so small. So don't get persuaded by that. But at the same time, if we do the flip side, so let's flip it, the highest paid zero experience electrical engineers are listed, the highest person being $214,000 per year. So his base pay is actually $143,000. And his average annual stock, his RSUs, are $26,000. So in total, they offered him $80,000 to join the company, and they're going to be paying it out monthly. So in case he changes his mind and he doesn't want to work with this company, Qualcomm, anymore, he won't get the rest of the RSU. And a lot of companies do that. Most other companies do that with your 401k, with how much money you invest and how much they match. But this is another way to do it with restricted stock units. All right, so you're seeing all these high numbers here, but pay attention to the locations. All of these locations are in California, right? So all of these high paying salaries are in California. And we already know the standard of living in California is significantly higher. So I live in Texas. If I wanted to compare other electrical engineers that live in my area, I could type Texas and then see a comparison. So somebody from Dallas at Texas Instrument, they have 1 year of experience. They're getting paid $119 with some stock RSUs. But now let's look at mid engineers, right? So if you're a mid-level engineers, a lot of them are starting, the minimum we have here is at Stanford University. I'm not gonna count that because those are usually educational positions. So let's go straight to BA systems. As you can see, they're ranging from $75,000, and let's look at the highest. So the highest paid for mid electrical engineers is sitting around $385,000. And this person is working at Amazon. His base salary is $185,000. His average annual stock RSUs is $200,000. And like we looked at the previously, they don't pay the $200,000 up front. And it's usually over the course of a certain time period. So most of the time, my brother works with Amazon, and when he got his RSUs, they offered him a certain amount over 5 years. So if he decided to quit the company at any moment given throughout those 5 years, he would lose the rest of it. And usually at the end of those 5-year period, you might either get no RSUs following after that time period, or you can come into a new contract with the company and say, hey, I want to stay for another 5 years. Can we work something out? And I can get some more stocks, because he could always leave and find another company who's willing to pay him brand new RSUs to stay with that company. And now, if we look at the seniors, right? According to everybody who has submitted, the highest paid electrical engineer who has submitted this is in the semiconductor industry. And Tense Torrent, I've never heard of this company in my entire life. It's in California, and they're paying him a total of $260,000 base salary. And then they're giving him $360,000 worth of stock. So a lot of his money is coming through the stocks and not actual paychecks. And it just sucks because some of the companies you'll see on here, they're giving their employees stock, but and some of those companies aren't even publicly traded. So you're just stacking up on stocks and you don't know when you'll be able to sell it. So that's the catch that some companies use. They'll be like, hey, we're giving out $50,000 of stock or $20,000, but you'll never be able to sell it. So essentially, until they go public, you worked for free and not for that amount that they promised you. So that was for electrical engineers, but this is just the top of the scale. So there's people who specialize in different areas. Although electrical engineering is a very wide branch, there's different levels that you can focus into, or especially if you're still in college, pick an area of a field and then grind into it and become an expert at it. So for that, let's look at, I'm currently an RF engineer, right? I'm a hardware RF engineer. And if you look at the compensation differences, for electrical engineer salary, it's $125 million compensation. But if you handle radio frequencies, if you're a radio frequency engineer, the meter compensation is $170,000. And if we look at the highest paid, engineer who has submitted on here is Amazon, and that person's base pay is around $140,000, gets an average annual stock RSU of $46,000, and his target bonus is $28,000. But this guy is also in California, and Although in the electrical engineering side, we had bigger paychecks towards the end of the scale, but on average, people at the bottom of the scale got paid more than people at the bottom of the scale for just a general electrical engineering position. So the highest paid person for a radio frequency engineer is getting paid, well, at least who has submitted. He has been with Apple for 10 years. 8 years at Apple, but in total he's been an engineer for 10 years, and he's a hardware engineer. He gets a base pay of $220,000, $400,000 worth of stock. Some people might say, hey, because you got an RSU, it doesn't necessarily count, but he owns Apple stock, so he can sell that at any given moment. It was freely given to him, and you would become a millionaire within 2 years of working at this company. And his target bonus was $47,000. So being an electrical engineer definitely opens up a big pathway for you. So if you're trying to become an electrical engineer, I hope this gives you a very good understanding of how much potential there is in the field of electrical engineering. We all go to school, we all want to become something great in our lives, and we become electrical engineers to make money. Now, if you can capitalize on it, you can make a lot of money. And as you can see, the most paid one, Apple, for example, they're paying him over $400,000 in restricted stock units. And this person will be a millionaire within 5 years just by not getting fired. So after seeing all these paychecks, is electrical engineering worth it for you or for me? For me, it's definitely worth it. There's a lot of room for growth, and there's a lot of potential. As time goes on, there's new technology that will always be needed. Although AI is advancing, there's going to be new tech that's going to be needed to meet AI where it's going. And electrical engineers are definitely needed in this pathway forward. So I'm always advocating, if you're interested in electrical engineering, by all means, take a shot at it. And you can't go wrong when you succeed. So thank you guys for watching this video. If you guys found value in here, I would really appreciate you if you guys could like the video and subscribe if you want to see me again. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Jodabeni is out.